Hello, this is a short presentation on the rubrics that are going to be used in grading your papers. The purpose is, of course, to help you understand what the requirements are and the standards that are being applied so that when you receive a particular grade on your paper, you can look into more detail about why that grade was received. This should also help you in writing your papers to know what needs to be included at what level to achieve the best grade you possibly can. Start off by going to the grade book. We're going to be looking at a demonstration student, so your grade book and your screen should look pretty much like what I'm showing you here. And we're going to be going to the week 2 paper assignment and looking at the rubric. That will bring you to this screen. Now, the rubric for the papers is somewhat longer and more detailed than the rubric for the discussion posts. We're using the same basic ideas that we've always used. As I've said in the previous video about rubrics, these ideas have been used, these concepts of a rubric has been used before. All we're doing is adding more detail so that you can actually see how these rubrics then are being applied and what standards are being used. So in this particular case, we're looking at the introduction, whether the introduction was fairly clear. And as you can see, we have 4 different levels: excellent, good, satisfactory, and poor. In this particular example, I've checked the introduction of this student, his paper, as being satisfactory, getting a 3.9, and again there's a range from 3.5 to 3.95 that would all fall into this category. And I've supplied a little bit of feedback saying that there needs to be more in the way of the introduction. The second category or criterion here is the application of theory, and again this should be useful because it describes what sort of levels of application of the theory in your paper that is being exhibited. The third criterion is relevance, and again the explanation of what relevance means and what you need to do to be able to achieve that. Going on, we also look at the references and resources that are being used, the reference list, how it's constructed, your use of in-text citations and paraphrasing, the exhibited critical thinking, creative thinking, quality of writing, organization, precision, and mechanics. So for each one of these categories, there's a specific set of points or a percentage assigned. These will then be all added up in total to give you the score for that particular writing assignment, that particular paper. So again, we're not doing anything new in terms of how the grading is being done or what we're looking for. We're just making it more explicit and more detailed, so not only will you be able to understand why you got the grade that you did and which categories could be improved upon, but also as you sit down to write a paper that you'll be able to see what needs to be added so that you can look at the paper over and have it evaluated in terms of these categories. You can also look at the categories and look at the rubric from a list view perspective by pushing on that button, and then you will get it laid out in a slightly different format. That gives us the raw score for the paper. Now, if it was turned in on time, that's the score that you'll get. If it was turned in late without an excuse or an exemption from the instructor, these are the percentages that will be applied or subtracted from the grade according to the syllabus. This is just what I went over when I talked about the syllabus for the class. These are the standard penalties that are assigned. So for example, if according to the rubric the paper received 90% or 90 points, but it was turned in later than the actual assignment was due sometime during the following week, 10% would be subtracted, so 10% of 90 would be 9 subtracted from 90 would give you an 81 as your final score, and that would be what would show up in the gradebook. Keys to success. Be familiar with the rubric. That's the primary reason that I'm putting together this video, so that you know it's there and how it's going to be used. You should be familiar with the basic categories, and also familiar with the levels of achievement that are going to be required to get a certain number of points. Look at your papers. Now, when I return a paper to you, you'll not only get the rubric with it, but you'll also have the in-paper comments, so that I will specifically look at different concepts or sentences or paragraphs within your paper and make comments there. So that's the next level of detail. If you're unsure of what you're supposed to be doing, if you're unsure about what these various categories are, or how much you need to write, or how you're supposed to be writing, that's a good basis for discussion. And I'm more than willing to work with you to understand what I'm looking for. Be sure to get your papers in on time. That's an automatic penalty, and you can spend a lot of time writing the paper and lose it all, or most of it, if you don't turn it in on time. I understand there are situations that may require some sort of an exemption. The thing is, you need to get with your instructor before that's required rather than afterward, and let them know that you may be late and there's a particular reason that can be validated, and can they work with you on that. I'm more than willing to work with people as long as you let me know what your situation is. And finally, of course, based upon the results that you get, we're trying to improve with each particular paper. We're going to be writing a number of papers and article reviews and different things that allow you to work on your writing, and the rubric should be a benefit to us, should be a tool that we can use to actually get closer and closer to what would be a perfect paper. Good luck with it. If you have any questions, you know how to reach me.